So can I ask you first to identify yourself?
Okay. Okay. Are we on the
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
I am Father Aloysius A. Maranan. FBR calls me Father Aloy or Father A. I am a Benedictine priest for the last 26 years. I belong to the Order of Saint Benedict, and I am the rector president of San Beda University for the last 9 years. And I'm happy to know FBR. I am a Catholic priest. He is a Protestant president. But what is wonderful and amazing in this relationship is that we are friends. We are like father and son. And truly, God is around us.
Let me, well, basically what will happen is the project creates, diba, a very rich source of insights, anecdotes, impressions of the people who've passed through FBR's life, and that really is the main objective, to capture it. And then yun nga, so you're one of them. Let me start from the beginning. How did you get to know each other, Father?
We got to know each other through Chula, the third daughter. Chula was my tennis player mate. We played tennis together at the Ayala, well, somewhere in Alabang, in Ayala Country Club. And from there, we got to know each other. Chula brought me to the family with her friends. And that's the beginning of this long story.
Okay. Anyway, we'll go through that. So I suppose it was Chula who introduced you to FBR?
Yes.
Oh, okay. When was that, and what was it?
That was
Family
around
gathering?
2000, after the presidency of FBR, when the family came over to their residence in Ayala, Alabang. And that's the time that Chula had more time playing with her friends. And, well, it's an occasional weekend playing tennis together as friends. And since FBR would be visiting her, and also, knowing him as a sports path, so he will appear here and then. And that's the time that when I was introduced to him more personally. So we came to know each other, and it was a right away instant mutual admiration.
Well, why so? What?
In that occasion,
May spark or?
what inspired me to this FBR is that when he first saw me, right away he said, if I will have a son, I will let him study in the seminary, and I want him to become a priest. And there and then, Chalolit, who was around us, said, why do you still have to adopt a seminarian? Father Aloy is already here. And I know that it was his endearing way of, I could feel that instead of directly telling me, there was an indirect pointing at me that if ever he will have a son, he wanted him to study in the seminary. So it's feel like, and I got the point. And from then on, when he said it's like that, I felt so. I mean, it's like not only a first time meeting, but as if we were having together.
Any preconceived notions, Father, about? So you knew Chula, you knew that she was the daughter of Fidel Ramos. Any preconceived notions about that? Siguro
My preconceived idea would be looking at Chula, her parents, or maybe even the father, is a disciplinarian. Disciplinarian, but I could feel that Chula was so loving towards her parents. So I'm sure that the parents were so loving and caring also to the children. There's a sense of high regards and respect. And for Chula, her parents were always people who continue to respect and you love and you care for. So my preconceived notion of FBR is that he's a disciplinarian, yet he could be loving and gentle.
But that's more a family man, ano?
That's true.
That there you're looking at it. No, no preconceived notion of leader, statesman.
Of
yung
course.
ganon, ha?
Because at the start, my relationship was at a family level. But as a Filipino, as an educator, I look up at FBR as an iconic statesman, a prime mover in education, and truly a visionary person, a visionary leader who would want to bring our country, our nation, to a higher and nobler stage of life. I think that's why even as a priest and as an educator, when he was a president and I was then a high school principal and also a rector already, we look up to him. And although I was not personally known to him, I really followed him in many educational conferences. And I remember earlier than that when he was the chief of staff of the AFP, he would run around the Alabang Hills area jogging with people and chatting people. And one occasion I was just along the road and I saw him, waving his hands as if he's not a president but truly a man for everybody.
And were those validated when you eventually got to meet him, both leader and
More than
family man?
validated, because I discovered something deeper and more personal than how he is in television and from what I heard from people. There is a more profound and deeper quality of this person that others might not see in television or in some formal occasions.
Ano yun? What did you see, Father? Ano nakita
Number
mo?
one, between us, he has high regard for divine providence. He's a godly person. He may not be a type of person who will preach about it, who will tell you about it. But in my dealing with him, I knew deep in his heart that he has a deep love for God. It is not something that is piety or religiosity, but there is something spiritual in him that I believe he has this kind vision for everyone. Well, in my conversation with him throughout time, I learned that he has that infinite sense of the goodness of God in him. That I think he believes that what he has is not deeply his own, but he attributes it to the divine providence. And I think that what makes him, in many occasions, and not only in many occasions, but all throughout his life, I see him as a very humble servant of the Lord. Otherwise, as a priest, this has made me closer to him, knowing that, as I said earlier, and it is our butt of joke between us. He's a Protestant, I'm a Catholic, but I think our relationship is more than just being tied up to a religion. Ours is, as I would say to you, parang it's a father and son kind of relationship.
Yeah, you said that first, ano? So, pakiramdam ko, pakiramdam mo, adopted son ka ni FBR.
Yeah, with his words and actions, and to the point that I became a family household name. Man, I should not have said, but the thing is, I felt that way.
So you meet each other often? I mean,
At least once a week or more. Every Sundays is your thing. We have, Mama Ming or former First Lady Amelita Ming would invite me every family dinner, family lunch. Then I would be here at least it depends, once a week or twice a week. Every time I have a work to do around the area, I make sure that I pass by. Just like this morning, he told me, "Oh, you sleep here, you stay here. Make this your hideout." But those are just words of between people of cementing that close bond relationship.
So parang kapamilya nga talaga. Kasi
Kapamilya, kapuso, kapatid, anak, at lahat-lahat na.
But yeah, let me get to that. And you mentioned it, Father. It probably is, second nature to you now. But didn't you find it odd at first? I mean,
Never.
you,
I never felt it an odd experience.
Was there a religious divide?
No.
Talaga.
Ako nga, it's more a sense of wonder and amazement. How could this happen? I never felt awkward. I never felt hesitant about this. Because right at the beginning, as I told you, kasi ang sabi niya sa akin, the first time that we met, if I will have a son, I want him to study at the seminary and become a priest. And then suddenly, Chalolit, who is her first cousin and the mayordomo of Malacanang before, she said, "Oh, wait, don't you just adopt Father Aloy?" And then, everything.
So truly ecumenical, universal.
Yes.
Oh. And was that the foundation that eventually helped evolve and develop the relationship over the years? So, it's almost 2 decades already na adopted son ka.
Yes. From there, relationship comes to a point that we're able to, on my part, he has become an inspiration. In what way? I think as a leader, as an educator, as somebody who influences the lives of young people, there are a lot of very valuable ways of life that I have learned from FBR. And he may not know it personally, that as a priest, as a religious, much different from a government, a national, and even an international figure like him. There are a lot of nuggets of wisdom that I have learned from him up to now. And these are valuable things, unquantifiable wisdom and knowledge that I would not be able to learn from the classroom, even read from the books, but experience through interaction with him.
Talaga. Ang lalim, Father. Parang ang lalim nung samahan ninyo.
Malalim at mabigat at kung minsan mahirap ipaliwanag sa mga tao na hindi nakita yung ganong relationship. Pero sa mga taong nakaranas ng tunay na pagsasamahan, yung matapat na pagkakaibigan, marunong magpatawad, umunawa, at tumulong sa kapwa, a kind of relationship that is father, brother, and friend at the same time. Yeah.
And then even mentor, because
Of course.
apparently he serves as a
mentor,
as
a coach, a friend, a confidant, a vision maker.
Oo. And you're able to reflect that through your work, di ba?
I don't know how relevant this would be to our discussion.
Yes, go ahead.
But as a religious, it is just very helpful for us that we came to establish rapport not only among religious, but to touch the lives of many other people, even the lay. And whether you're a Catholic or not, whether you're a leader or a simple amasa, what matters most is that you're able to influence and direct to a better a nobler stage of life, the persons around you. And FBR is like that. Well, if ever I say, there's that instant bonding together, ang tanong ko nga sa sarili ko, how can this very much admired president relate with me as a simple Catholic priest? And that sense of question only was really wiped out right away. Because, I think outside of the official work that he had as a president, as a government official, as a general, as a military, he has a very gentle heart, a very understanding heart. In addition to be like a walking dictionary, a walking encyclopedia, his mind is really like an internet. You just press a button and everything will come out naturally. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, we may have now at this time an advanced technology, but way back when he was born, internet was already inside his mind.
He was already wired at
He was already wired, yes.
Father, tell me about, and this one I ask because you've had this very close relationship with FBR and the family. What's he like as a family man? I mean, you're actually privy to a very personal side of FBR that, everyone knows him, the public self, his public self. No? Tell me, what's he like as a family man? What's he like as a husband, father, grandfather?
Well, first, as a husband, he's so sentimental, he's so loving, he's so intimate with Mama Ming. Inside the house, I shouldn't be telling this, but, they hold hands together, they kiss together. There is a sense of love, lovelier this time than I think more than years back. To the children, grandchildren, he is very doting, just like our father. But people might not see it that he's so playful, he's so jovial, he is so close to everyone in the family that you won't feel that he was one time the president of this country, that everything was, of course, everything remains in order. And that's one that I appreciate most. That's why at the beginning I said he's a disciplinarian, but if only to put order and to put everything in its proper perspective.
Stricto ba? Stricto sa mga bata?
Stricto na dapat you have these things to do. Pero pwede namang you can violate the rules and policies inside the house. I think ang mahalaga sa kanya, make sure that you learn from your everyday experiences.
And does he also, I picked up from a few other interviewees na, I mean, you don't just do it for yourself, but you have to do it for, there's got to be a vision to what it is you are doing now. Is that
perfect? That's why one of the many things that I admire, why I admire him is, in my work as an educator and as a priest also, he always makes it sure that the way that when you interact with him, you're learning more, marami ka natututunan, and hindi lang natututunan, pero you learn to apply it to yourself. And that's why I think there's a drive to excellence, of always getting better, to be competitive, not because you want to put down others, but on his part, you have to be better than yesterday. I think his sense of being competitive it's not because you want to put down others. No, competitive means to say, be responsible, be trustworthy, that you're able to bear fruition, to be better than who you are and what you have done in the past. I think that's very core at him.
Father, you said that you, at the very least, it's once a week that you see each other. Sometimes it's twice a week. And tell me how your discussions go.
It's everything under the sun.
Talaga.
Politics, economics, God, death, life, chocolates, liquor, puto bongbong, lifestyle, the way you dress, colors, everything.
Anything and everything.
And we have also time that we could just be quiet and silent and andyan siya, nagsusulat, dito lang ako, nagbabasa. And the presence is more than enough. I mean, it's not verbal discussion is important, but silence could also communicate something deeper than talking.
Kakaingit ang relationship ninyo, Father.
Alam mo, Toby, sa'yo ko lang sinasabi to. But anyway, I'm proud to share these things because I admire the man. He has been so fatherly. He has been a profound influence as to the country and to the world. But to me personally, he has an immensely shape of what I see and how I believe and the way I look around at people, at the world, and at life.
So na-influence ka talaga. No? May impact sa'yo, obviously. No? The way you describe him and the relationship you have with him. Ano?
Always for the better.
Oh, okay. This one, maybe a very personal, very personal event that happened to him. When Chula had her accident and when Joe passed away. How does FVR take to personal loss and tragedy?
When
I understand you were with him when Chula had her, si Chula ba o si Joe? Nagkaroon ng aksidente. But anyway, tell me.
When Chula met an accident and when Joe passed away, I saw the sense of loss. I felt the sense of loss in him. And as a loving father who loves his children, his daughters very much, that is simply natural and admirable in his part. But still, I could see a sense of balance, a sense of knowing that there's a time for loneliness and a time for happiness. There's a time for sorrow and a time for joy. He has that sense of delineation between the past and the present. And I think that is a good mark of a true human being. The balance of emotion, the balance of the mind. And I saw his low part of emotion when he felt, a sense of losing a loved one. And I also how he stood up from that experience, knowing that he believes in the presence of the Lord, that Joe is now at the good hand of the Lord. And he is so optimistic that life will continue. Guiding us, the Lord providing us the direction, that He is in control of everything in life.
With Chula, it's a continuing challenge, ano?
Yeah, with Chula naman, it's a continuing but also an evolving experience of the frailty of human being, but still the capacity of man to be resilient on our low points. Kasi with Chula, siyempre, she met an accident, and at the beginning, you know, I was really touched when it was an FBR. It was him who asked me to celebrate Holy Mass every Friday at Asian Hospital, and then later for at least that was more than a year. Every Friday at the Asian Hospital, and even at the hospital inside her room that I blessed Chula. I celebrated Mass for Chula with the family all around. And I think this increased our sense of bond and relationship. And thank God that our prayers were answered. That because there was a time that Chula was already 50-50, that even the doctor said when she was able to recover, that it was really a miracle. And of course, we just keep it close to our heart that God has been so generous to the family. And Chula is still with us.
And he took this in stride?
Yes. At the beginning, parang siya pa nga yung nagsasabi na, don't worry, we will overcome this. Parang the soldier, the general in him, that brave heart, that strong mind is always present in him, regardless of situations in life. And that's a very strong point that I could see in him.
Some people have characterized him also as fatalist. I mean, if it will happen, it will happen. Is that something you see
In some
as well?
point, I agree that in some point he was fatalist, but more often I see him as an optimistic, bright, futuristic person. He sees that everything would be better. But of course, ang lagi niyang sinasabi, pray and perform. Perform and pray. You don't pray just and God will help you. No, he said, pray and perform, and that's true. But of course, you don't do things alone. You have to pray also for the things you do. And I think I heard that from him. Pray and perform. I think that's the kind of principle in life that he has.
Father, what about? Well, he has his own challenges, no? Health. He's advancing in age. I mean, how is he taking to that?
Challenges of life, for example, now that he's 90, we agree that he's getting older, he's getting weak compared to when he was 20s and 30s. That's part of our life. The way I see him going these things happening, he's very welcoming on this. I think the wisdom has grown so much that he accepted it. That life has given us that sense of growing that enable us to see that life here on earth is coming to an end, but there is a bright future waiting for everyone. I think it's like, as I think I heard him mention before, life on earth is like performing on the stage. You enter, you perform your role well, and then you exit. And what matters now is you have done your best.
You did your part. No?
You did your part so well. I think that is an epitome of who he is and what he has done in his life.
You said that your discussions when you meet each other includes everything under the sun. I suppose current affairs?
Yes, about everything. Well, it depends. I said everything because for me, there's no hold bars.
Yeah. Talaga.
Well, yeah.
Very open, ano? Very open. Okay. Sige. Tatanungin ko sana kung may ano eh. Does he make, are there comparisons between, does he make comments that refer to comparisons between his watch as president as against those who came after?
Number one, he we discussed things. We talk about the challenges that time and the challenges now, and the way he approached the matter and the way he would approach the matter now. Of course, it's not a matter of who is better and who's doing well, but I think how will you handle the situations? How will you handle the challenge now and then? Well, he is not a person who is judgmental or giving names to. No, I think his is a very contextual approach to what have you done had this been for you, and what you're supposed to do in a situation like this. So it's not you're like this, you're like that. No, I think it's not that kind of person that he is.
Okay. What do you tell people about your relationship with FBR?
In my religious community, in my academic community, he's a familiar face. In San Beda, well, he's an adopted alumnus. He has been given what you call Beda honoris causa. We have FBR Resource Center in our campus in Manila, in Alabang, in Rizal. He has been our frequent speakers and all other events that's important to San Beda. He has been with us. So in your question, what do I tell people about him? Sabi ko, I'm his adopted son.
Your adopted father. Okay.
He's my adopted father.
Oh. Okay.
Well, people know that, it's a quote-unquote biro lang. But there's something deeper than that.
But I guess within your circle, people know of the very unique and close relationship you have with him.
But I just keep it as much as possible. Keep it quiet. Keep it among ourselves. No media, no discussion outside. No mention even in I think this is an exceptional interview.
Okay, thank you. You knowing him, does he, as a former president, still have value for the nation today?
Oh yes, very much to be. He is not only a former president, but for me, and I suppose for the country, he has been one of the best or the few better presidents that we have. For me, he's an idol, he's an icon. He is, I think, the most eminent, the most effective, who had delivered growth in the life of our people. Of course, again, depending on the context and the challenges that he got into.
Okay, and we're probably missing out on his on his thoughts that if there were, what would be your most poignant or most memorable FBR moment?
FBR moment is thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness in a very bright aspect. Number one, he would call me, sabi niya, Father Aloy, good morning. I just would like to let you know and to inform you that don't go out at home today. And then he said, the water rainfall has been so high, Typhoon Ondo is coming. And as I tell to the rest of my children, I'm telling you now, be safe, stay put. For a former president to call me in the midst of the night and to remind me, that is love personified. Every Sunday, he would, Mama Mi would text me and invite me and assure me that I should be present in the family dinner. And that, FBR has always this weekly column that he always assured that he has this printed. I never miss a copy. I have now files and files in my cabinet of this. I'm keeping them. He is so thoughtful that in my birthdays, in Christmas, even Valentine, he has this very lovely letter of confidence, of support, of remembrance that very inspiring.
Okay.
That he has all this time to do these little things. But now I realize those little things are so big for him. Imagine, small letters, small thoughts. He has, why he's so thoughtful. Every time he sees red and he thinks red, he remembers me. Because it's because of red lion, red sun Beda.
yes.
So I have red sock, I have red pants, I have red cup, I have red paper, I have red pen. I have collections of things that are red. And whenever there is red, even red slippers. Well, very thoughtful.
Talaga. Maybe my last one.
And that I think that thoughtfulness is because his wisdom, his mind, that is not concerned only of, developing visions, knowledge, and directions. But more than that, this must be personified in the warmth of the heart. The bright minds that he has leads to a kind heart.
Oh, that's beautiful. Maybe the last one that I'd like to ask of you in this interview, Father, is if there were one or two traits of the man that you would want people to remember him by, what would those be?
First, resourcefulness. Resourcefulness. He will make it sure that he has resources to give for people who need. He make it sure that he will be able to provide what the needy, the lost, and the least would have. He's very generous to provide need of others.
Okay.
Second, yun na nga, yung nasabi ko kanina,
Thoughtfulness.
the sense of being thoughtful of others, his other relatedness. And I could see that if he is ever concerned for other people, he's concerned with the Filipinos, he's concerned with the nation, he's concerned with his family, he's very much concerned with friend. I think that speaks so loud of who he is, that in no way he thinks about me, I, and myself, but he thinks of others. I think that what makes him a truly iconic statesman and leader, that others go ahead of himself.
Is that something that appeals very much to you, Father? That he service to others?
Very much, Toby. His other-centeredness, his thoughtfulness and care for the others defines the highest quality that God has created a human being could be. Others may not see it that way, well, because of maybe you have a limited paradigm of the person. But for me, for the things that others don't see, I see him that other-centeredness, that altruistic sense of other people. And I think what keeps him strong, what keeps him the longevity of his life is because he wants to serve other people. And even at this time, I think God is generous to him, providing a thoughtful mind, a loving heart, a strong body, a very courageous spirit, because God knows that he is not accumulating it to himself, but he is sharing it with others. And that is the person that he is. And I think that contributes to his being a very visionary and proactive person that really sets him apart from the others.
Thank you very much.